All
Okay.
right, now I'm going to see if I can, at the same time, yeah, I can record it on my side too. Cool. Oh,
Ah,
beautiful.
oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited right now. Thank you. Thank you, Tapas, for being here. I want to start off by introducing myself. I am Velma Alford, and I am currently a PhD student with Gateway University, which is in California. And I am in the energy psychology program. So that's my field of love and my field of study. I am also a certified TAT trainer and certified TAT practitioner. And I have the pleasure and the honor and the love of having the founder and creator of Tapas Acupressure Technique here with me. So welcome, Tapas, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your heart, your spirit, your energy. Thank you for bringing TAT to the world, to my life specifically, and to the world. I truly, truly appreciate everything that TAT has done to make my life much more peaceful, much more kind. I, I thank you.
Hmm. Thanks so much, Velma.
Um,
I'm excited too.
yeah, and as we were chatting earlier, my vision for the purpose of this conversation is that I feel in this dissertation that TAT will be explained, it will be highlighted in mine because my dissertation is about bringing TAT into the breast cancer patient's experience to hopefully lower, to decrease her anxiety throughout her breast cancer journey. And so in doing that, it's also my hope that more and more and more of the word will get out about TAT itself and more into the attention of the doctors, of oncology, of all of them, so that when they give a diagnosis to the woman, that they also give her the name of a TAT professional so that they can go right into that treatment, that help to help her anxiety, help her stress, and help her to be able to um, go through what she's going through. And so that's my intention and my vision for it. And in doing that, I have some questions. I have some different topics and different areas that the flow of this conversation will be certain headings and topics. And just Tapas, please feel free to just just chat. Just let us know all about TAT and that particular topic. So anything that you want to add around that topic, carte blanche. Just let us know. Okay.
Thank you, Velma. And I want to say I'm totally, of course, 100% behind your intention. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay.
All righty. So our first topic is Tapas's acupuncturist history. So how did you get started with that? And are you still doing acupuncture? Kind of give us the lowdown, the rundown of that part of your life.
Sure. Um, at, I got started into acupuncture because I had been pregnant with twins, and at 6 months, they were both born, 6 months gestation. So one had died before. I had a little girl who had died before, and then my son went into the intensive care nursery, ICN, lived for 100 days, and died on his due date. And one of my really good friends was seeing an acupuncturist, and she knew my interest in energetic approaches to healing, and she said, "Why don't you become an acupuncturist, Tapas?" So, so that's how I got interested, and I came to see an acupuncturist she knew who helped me recover because that was a super physically and emotionally stressful 100 days. And so that's how I got into acupuncture. And because I was so interested in emotional healing and spirituality, um, the whole acupuncture approach wasn't super focused on that. And in the midst of being an acupuncturist, I came up with TAT. And so that's where I focused once I came up with it. I didn't really care about acupuncture itself. There was a lot of approaches that I learned that gave me knowledge and information that informed what I came up with. But yeah, I don't do acupuncture anymore. I just maintain my license. But I'm crazy about TAT, so yeah.
Same.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And you answered all of my questions, my sub questions under that topic. So very cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. And so what personal experiences have you had in your life that where TAT was helpful?
Oh my gosh.
The major ones, or as many as you want to share. We have all day in our minute.
I'll share a few.
Okay.
Um, I had breast cancer,
Mm.
and the first night after I got the diagnosis, I woke up around 2 in the morning and went, "Oh my God, I have breast cancer." So I did TAT at like 2 in the morning, and 6 or 8 months of pain and heat, inflammation that I had went away and never came back. Yay! And so I used TAT for about a year. I I did other approaches as well. I did. Now, this is not to recommend anyone else, of course, follows my path. I'm just saying what I did. I mean, I did 3 chemo treatments and then stopped. They wanted to do a whole bunch. They wanted to do radiation. They wanted to do surgery. I just did those 3, and then the rest was all natural healing plus TAT. So I used it just visualizing that, I mean, probably 4 or 5 times a week, just visualizing that I'm in perfect health now as like a template for what I wanted while I was in the TAT pose, even though I knew my body wasn't there yet. It's like, hey, this is it, da-da. So by the end of a year, what was like 8 centimeters or centimeters, it was big. And it had metastasized to my armpit, had a couple of lymph nodes, was just down to what the doctor said was probably just a scar the size of an eraser, that they said, this is probably just the scar from our biopsy that's left. I said to the doctor, have you ever seen anything like this? And she said, no, you should be written up in medical books. So that's one thing I did.
Yeah.
And the another big thing I've used it for is that I'm not mad at my parents anymore for being who they were. I don't blame them. I just feel complete compassion toward them. And um, and I'm just living a happy life in a relationship that I am happy in. That's the main thing. Um, yeah, just to kind of to fill that out a little, I wanted to tell you my story of what inspired me to come up with this anyway.
Yes.
So, so if you picture where I grew up was the last chicken ranch in this city of Redondo Beach near LA. It was 3/4 of an acre. It was like 6 big pepper trees, 50 fruit trees, a whole bunch of chickens when I was little, like 1,800 when I was little. Yeah, it grew to be less, but I mean, it was just an idyllic place. I was like bringing flowers in for my mom, and but at the same time, my dad was really angry. He was the oldest of the children in his family. And my mom was very emotionally weak. So, and she was the youngest. So it was that intense combination. And what happened was for me, when I was 8 years old in 1960, there were, I was sitting across the dining room table from my mom, and there were two complete houses on that property. And my dad was in the back house with my sister. My mom and I were in the main house. And my dad was beating my sister with a strap and yelling, and she was screaming. And my mom was looking at me like, do something about this. And I felt like, I'm 8 years old. I can't do anything about this. And I just really wanted to run away from home, but realized I couldn't. Where would I go? What would I do? So that's part of the story is just, I mean, I just wanted to be at home and be happy. I want, I also felt like everybody, it was like every man for himself. There were 6 of us, 4 kids and my mom and dad. And there just wasn't loving, supportive communication and connection. It was scary when my dad got home from work. Everybody shut up. They, that's how it was. So that was part of it. I just wanted to get out of that situation and find a situation that was like I knew must exist. Just where people could express who themselves, be loving, like that. That's what I wanted. Just simple, happy home life. And then by the time I was mid 20s, I noticed I keep getting into relationships with guys who are like my dad. And I thought, it's exactly what I was trying to not do. When I was 17, I left home for a spiritual and emotional clearing community. I did manage to graduate high school then and had gone to some college, but my mom said, you didn't even leave a bobby pin. I was just like, I'm out of here. So, so that's part of the story of TAT for me also. What inspired me to come up with it? Because when I was 16, in that spiritual community, I actually had my first totally life changing, profound experience of who I am. Experienced that I exist beyond space and time, not related to this particular body at all. So I felt, so that was when I was 16. So by the time I was in my 20s, and I'm going, why do I keep doing the same stupid thing? And getting involved with the same guy who's like my dad that I wanted to leave. And so just trying and trying. So why do I keep doing the same stupid thing? Plus, hey, I've had this profound spiritual experience. How come that didn't solve everything? Was like my inner drivers. And then later on, as I mentioned, I was pregnant with those twins, had them, lived most of my life for 100 days bedside beside my little baby, who then died, and became an acupuncturist, and had another failed relationship. And then finally left that marriage, and um, 4 days later, my high school boyfriend happened to knock on my mom's door to do some construction work she'd scheduled him to do. And we just got back together, and it was really happy. But not too long into that, I found out I had breast cancer. So it was like, oh my gosh, finally I'm in this happy relationship. Finally, I've done TAT over years because I came up with that when I was, I think, in my late 30s. So it was finally like, okay, the path is open. My guy is here. And then breast cancer. So after a year, like I said, using TAT and other natural approaches, that cleared up. And I'm just really happy. Just a simple, happy life. That's what inspired me, and that's what I have. Um, Another thing I got to use it for was teaching people like you. One of the people I taught at, from Indonesia, with a group of people, a small group of people, taught it to 7,000 people in a week after they had, I think it was a tsunami, or it was like just devastating. I think it was tsunami, maybe with hurricanes, but just boom. Um, and then another thing I got to use it for was helping. Um, I just don't know why this always makes me cry. I guess I got to help some veterans. And there were about 30 people who came just to these evening, 5 day a week evening uh, workshops we did to help people get over stuff that happened while they were in the middle of war situations. And people really got over stuff. It's like a little too much, I think, to tell right now, but I can say that one of the men, when we were done for the night, asked me if I had a few minutes. I said, sure. He said, I have three, no, four kids and three Purple Hearts, and I want to give you one of them. Yeah. Another guy said, well, actually, there were about 4 or 5 of those people that told us we would have, I would have killed myself if it wasn't for this. Yeah, so I suppose it's touching for me so much, maybe because I was born on an Air Force base, and maybe just the environment kind of sunk in. I don't really know why, but yeah. Anyhow, those those are some of the things that I've gotten to use it for in, I mean, even though it's somebody else's life, it's my life, it's my
Mhm.
heartfelt experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How did you go from acupuncturist to TAT?
That's another really great story. um, I had had specialized in allergies with TAT. I learned NAET, Nabutapad's allergy elimination technique, and I felt like, and I'm grateful to have learned that. And I just wanted to make it simpler, faster, easier, cheaper for my clients because several of my clients were the kind of people who are like allergic to everything or especially allergic to all kinds of petrochemicals. So just driving to see me, they would get sick, and then the treatment, they would feel better, and then driving home, they'd feel sick again. And I thought, and those kind of people who are that sick, it's hard for them to make much money. So I thought, how can I just help my patients? So that was on my mind, in the back of my mind. And also, how can I get them results faster? So one day I was taking a nap on my acupuncture table, and when I woke up, there was this thought with me how one of my professors in acupuncture school said that all the acupuncture meridians join and enter the brain right here. And I thought, well, since that's so important, and since I'm using that meridian on the back, because it goes from here, over the head, down the back, down the legs, all the way to your toes, your little toes. Anyway, I thought since I'm using that meridian to heal allergies, maybe I could just incorporate this point, which is the point where it enters the brain, um, and just experiment, see if it helps my patients get better faster. And sure enough, it did. So that was the start of it. I just waking up after that nap and thinking, okay, I'll give this a try. And then I had a friend who was doing brain reintegration work using a bunch of techniques she'd learned from, she was using a lot of vision-based techniques she'd learned from monks from, I think, Shanghai or somewhere she had traveled. And she was telling me that the brain, the brain's vision center is back here. And she was working with someone who was developing the next level of computer games where they were attaching electrodes here just that you could stick on, not dug into your
Right.
let's just stick on.
Yeah.
And you can look at a computer screen and make things happen on the screen just by moving your eyes. You could play games. So I thought, that's interesting. And she said that our eyes are the king sense. They're the highest sense, meaning if you you're seeing a cow, but you're hearing a dog barking, your eyes are going to say that is a cow. You're not that's not a dog. Okay, so she was just telling me how she helps people with their emotional healing and also helps their vision. Um, she was a friend, and I'm grateful to her. And while I was driving to work one day, I thought, well, since I'm using these points, maybe if I added putting my other hand on the brain's vision center, it would help my clients heal faster. And it did, because I was used to people coming back for so many visits for one allergy. So the time kept getting shorter and shorter. Plus, I had one client, I was telling him about these points, and he said, oh, my little old Tai Chi master from China told me to touch here and here for getting over headaches and other problems. So I thought, well, I'll just try adding this in for the allergies. So that's how this was born. And what happened was I just saw incredible results with my clients. And the more I was seeing those results, the more impressed I was. And then I worked with one woman who came to see me who said, I'm allergic to salt. And I went, oh my God, how do you live with that as the thing you're allergic to? So when we were done, she said, I've been in therapy for about 9 years. She was in her like later 50s. She said, and this is the first time I can think of that entire period of my life with what happened to me with no stress. I said, oh, what happened? She said, well, when I was a little girl, I was sexually abused in a bar, and afterwards, every time I was given a bag of potato chips, that was like, ding, oh my gosh, the salt and the trauma all became this one, this is not good for me, for her whole system. She said, I can think of that whole period of my life now, and I have no negative energy, no emotional charge on any of that. And I went, oh my God. Because for me, what it meant was that really all my prayers about how to get over all this stupid stuff that keeps influencing me from my childhood and growing up. How do I get over this? So she had just delivered to me the answer to all those prayers. And that just had more meaning to me than doing acupuncture and
Mhm.
helping people get over allergies. Just that stuff is, from when I was at least 8 years old, was like, I am determined to find a way to,
Mhm.
to be able to be happy, just have a simple, happy life. So, yeah, that's how I got into TAT. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
just gives me goosies. All the stories, all the
yeah,
stories. No,
that's
and
awesome.
it's awesome. And firsthand experience, I know it all to be true.
Yeah,
Very similar, everything you mentioned, very similar.
for you
And
in your life.
in my life and working with TAT on those specifics now too, I'm able to have that happy, joyous, and free life.
Yeah,
And still keep working on stuff because life happens and
yeah,
it's just miraculous to me. And I'm all about being gentle, and I love gentle, and I love step one, step two, step three. I love easy like
right,
that.
me too.
Yeah, and so THC gave me that, and I just fell hook, line, and sinker from the get-go.
That's so
I really did. Really,
that's
really
so
did.
sweet to hear.
Yeah, I was all in. All
What
in.
was the very last thing you said? What?
I was all in.
All in.
All
Yeah.
in. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for all those stories and all the absolute miracles that TAT is just incredible. It's very gentle and
Yeah.
profound and miraculous.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you took that nap. That started everything.
It was a long time of praying and wishing for something.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I remember once that happened, I felt like I wanted to get on the rooftop and shout it out to the world. So
Mhm.
teaching it, doing videos, everything has still been inspired by what it is.
Mhm.
It's amazing. Plus, as you already know, you don't have to relive anything. You don't have to
Mm-mm.
figure anything out.
Mm-mm.
It's
Mm-mm.
amazing. And
Mm-mm.
then let me kind of wind back to the spiritual part of it.
Yeah.
the spiritual part of it also has its beauty, which doesn't apply to usually as many people, but a lot of people can understand that, and that what happens as we live is, well, I can put it this way that anyone could relate to, that we get stuck in these past moments, part of our soul. So people talk about soul retrieval. Part of us just gets stuck in these things that happened in the past. And those parts of us just keep telling us how life is, how we should be, how we need to act. And so, what is one of the really gorgeously beautiful things about TAT is that as that resolves, so we don't have those parts stuck in those moments, we ourselves become more and more established every time we do TAT in the pure, like you said, joyous, just the pure beauty and absolute perfection of who we are. You could say your
Mhm,
soul, or if you think of yourself as a child of God or pure being, or whatever you think of yourself as at the deepest level, because we're not identified with that, whatever that was, those moments and who we became and how we thought in those moments, then we're just here shining. And people who do a lot of TAT or even experience a profound shift will say,
mhm,
they'll say they feel lighter as in weight because that density somehow is really gone, and they
mhm,
shine more. They just
mhm.
really do. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. The color in their skin, changes from that gray to just like there's a light bulb that went off inside of them. That's just kind of, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so beautiful to just in sometimes, I mean, often less than an hour, see that transformation of a person who's been living with an ongoing hell to being free. It's like, oh
Mhm,
my gosh, it's so beautiful.
mhm. Do you have any sense of, or from your experience of working with clients and yourself, an average amount? Does sometimes is it one or sometimes is it 100 times of a session to clear certain things? Do you see a pattern in like breast cancer patients or veterans or vehicle accidents?
Okay, yeah. When it is a trauma, like with those veterans,
Mhm,
um, and myself, when it's a moment, a trauma, not this ongoing thing, like the woman who was allergic to salt. I mean, that all cleared up just like that in
one.
one session. That always doesn't happen. Usually that'll be over months,
Mhm.
sometimes years, because, like in my growing up family, there were so many awful things that happened at the dinner table.
Okay.
That was always like, oh no, dinner. Ugh.
Uh,
But
mm,
like for the veterans,
mhm,
they would just pick an incident when they started
mhm,
off those 2 weeks, and that would be just gone in one session.
mm,
In fact, the guy who gave me his one of his purple hearts pi picked the very worst thing that happened to him in the very
that's
first
brave.
session because he wanted to prove to us, the people, I went with a team of other TAT professionals, he wanted to prove to us that we didn't have the right to say we could help people like them who'd
Mm,
been through that kind of thing. So he picked the worst thing that happened
yay.
and it cleared up. He was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And anyway, so how long
Mhm,
does it take? I mean, for the cancer for me, it took like a year. I did
Mhm,
other things too, because if it's
mhm,
a physical condition, you want to eat well, you want to exercise. So it's part of a whole
right,
program. But the
mhm,
emotional stress part of it can lighten up really fast, the anxiety
mhm,
about it. And you can like arrive as who you are in the present moment really fast.
mhm.
So, yeah.
And how did lowering the anxiety for you and for the veterans, how did it help to change their life moving forward or change your life moving forward? What were you able to do now that you were not able to do then, emotionally or physically or mentally?
Okay, so ask me that again. I'm going to talk about the veterans first because their stories are in my mind.
Okay, excellent. So the veterans, what were they reporting that they could do after the TAT session that they were not able to do before? What did they notice?
Oh, yeah, they noticed and they told us. For
Mhm,
example, one guy, about every 45 minutes, he was a sniper. During the night when he'd go to sleep, about every 45 minutes, he'd wake up just thrashing, physically thrashing, and in the midst of one of the events that he actually lived through. And after just a few nights, he slept with his wife, one kid on each arm, and his baby on his chest, all in the same bed. Yeah, another guy just couldn't relax and play with his kids. And he was immediately like fixing his son's bicycle with him, within days. Yeah.
mm, mm,
People reported to us that they didn't have to sit with their back against the wall because before,
right,
like in a restaurant, they'd have to be able to see everything and everyone that they possibly could. So some of the guys said, like, hey, check me out. I'm not sitting in the back row. I'm up here.
yeah,
So, yeah, things changed immediately. And uh, one person's daughter, I think she was 10 at the time, wrote me a note saying, um, my daddy holds my hand more and he lets me sit on his lap now. Yeah,
mm,
it's just the sweet connection of being a parent and being a child,
mhm, mhm,
which is a fulfillment in my heart for what I had wanted for myself but couldn't have.
mhm, mhm. And
So,
helping everyone else to have them.
well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, truly. So, just give me a second. I'm glad I don't have my mic right here.
Yeah, there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So, about me, what am I able to do now, after the anxiety about the cancer? Um, I mean, I just know I'm cancer free. And I know that for me, I have the power with the help of TAT and just other healing approaches to possibly get well from all kinds of things. It just really gave me more of the feeling like, yeah, I can do some research, I can do a whole bunch of TAT,
mhm,
and I can research other approaches and
mhm,
continue to improve my health. And I can tell you this too. Years later, I went to see a healthcare provider. I don't know if you know about these kind of machines, but they can show like things you're allergic to
yeah,
and
yeah.
things that are impacting your health as frequencies
Cool.
and what you need to do, medicate, supplements you need, and all kinds of stuff. So we had one of
Mhm.
those fancy machines, and he said, Tapas, out of 10,000 people I've worked with over many years, you are the healthiest person to ever walk into my office.
Yeah.
So I was like, good. So I feel like that's part of what going through that did for me is it gave me a lot of confidence in what TAT can do and also what
Mhm.
I can do with my own research and actions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of that. Oh,
It's really fun to tell you.
it's like my heart is overflowing, you know? Like, uh,
Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions?
yes, plenty.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes, there are, I know energy psychology and many of the modalities are within or under the umbrella also of traditional Chinese medicine.
Uh-huh.
Have you been, not approved, but have you been, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Has TAT been accepted, welcomed into the Chinese medicine community?
I haven't really pursued that community too much.
Okay.
Um, Here's what I can tell you though. Early on, I wrote to the master, who was a Taoist master, Chinese guy, who came from a lineage since the Han Dynasty, like I think it's 200 AD, father to son. And I wrote him about what I had discovered because I felt like, wow, how does this work? What is this? This is amazing. So he just sent me back a postcard. I was hoping he would explain it all to me, but no. He just sent me a postcard, and I'm grateful to him for that, Master Nee. Anyway, he said, Dear Tapas, wonderful to hear from you. Um, your personal discovery truly aligns with ancient knowledge. May your successful practice make you rich and happy. And I thought, well, there's the best fortune cookie ever.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know how it works, but yes, it's in there. Oh, and I was doing a workshop once, and a woman told me that she had served a, a Chinese Taoist master for 14 years and had been accepted into the family. And he gave her, in writing, the family secret. I mean, basically, what they held so that they had their special thing to offer, and I guess, offer to the community, make money off, have
Mhm.
standing, whatever it meant for them. She said, and she said they didn't even speak it, they just wrote it down and would hand it to a person. Said they handed it to me. And she said it was TAT. I said, what? She said, the only reason I can talk about it is because you are talking about it. I said, oh my gosh, what did they do with it? She said, emotional healing. I went, oh my gosh. So is it accepted? Well, it's ancient. Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't pursued really teaching it to acupuncturists because they do acupuncture. They don't have time for um, really doing the whole TAT protocol with people. The people who are interested are more like mental health professionals or
Mhm.
lay people who want to take the time to learn how to work one on
Mhm.
one with people or teach groups. Yeah.
Cool. Now, when you first started with TAT, it was simply the pose, and then it grew,
Yeah.
and then now we have steps. So, how did the steps? Well, how were they born?
Um, they were born out of my working with teaching actually mental health professionals, like my friend Larry Nims of BSFF, another energy psychology, said, Tapas, you should look into forgiveness as an aspect of helping people let go of things. So that was very inspiring to me. And then Jane Wakefield told me that not only this, but this has a different energy,
Oh,
and
okay.
this makes the energy go across the brain in a
Mhm.
different way. So I have many friends who said, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try adding that and see how it goes? And I'm trying to think what else. And then because I have psychic vision, I would like see things that
Mhm.
people were holding on to and realized, for instance, this that I had to talk about the places in a person's energy field where something was stuck because I could see, oh, she's talking about how her mother died in her arms, and this is stuck in her energetic field. And when I added some words about that, it cleared up. So being with my clients informs me now of things that need to be said, added, addressed if they haven't been.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Let me check my notes.
Okay.
And what is it that makes it work? Do you know?
um, there we don't know. I mean, we can say, oh, well, it creates a state of relaxation, and so the amygdala, while you're having something triggered, the amygdala receives the information that it doesn't have to be on high alert anymore, and so all the chemistry changes and it influences the vagus nerve and blah. You know, to me that's like blah blah. That's like I mean, it's important.
Yes.
And many people think that way. But to me, what makes it work is that who you are receives the information that this is no longer a problem, and your own soul being um, totally receives that new information and just shines, as we said, just shines
Mhm.
in the here and now. And when a person's living with that fear, like constant fear from childhood, which is super normal, and then their whole body is constantly in this state of fear. So it's really how you consider the information to you as the being you are.
Mhm.
To me, outside of time and space, to me, you're living as the perfection that you are, how do you receive information? Well, there's something about the pose that allows that information transfer.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then you go, oh, everything's fine. Cool. I can just shine. I can just go on down. Okay, good.
Right, right. I find in my experience that I don't have to know how it works. I'm very, knowledgeable because I love to learn, and that is part of it. But it's like, oh, I can do this and say this and this and do that, and okay, I'm cool. Yay. All right, that works for me. Yeah. And if I have the other information, I like to know how things work, but I don't need to know about my computer to be able to use it and love it. So it's
Me
kind of
too.
like that, or the stove or anything else.
Or our phones, right?
Yeah. Phones, cars, anything. No, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It just works.
Yep. Yes, I place the most value. on what is an individual's experience. So I'm really thankful that you have done the study you've done, because I've been like, I sincerely drag my feet into everybody who's involved with TAT and who could have used it sooner. I apologize, but I've felt like, hey, just try it. If it works for you, you know it works, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you, sister. Um, all right, so we went over the pose and the steps. In working with the ladies in the study, the breast cancer ladies, and the words that we use in the steps, whatever is healing now.
Yeah.
Does that mean to you? Is healing now? What does that mean? Because in the breast cancer community, some may say, well, that means I'm going to become cancer free. And some understand maybe not. Maybe that means something else. So what does that mean to you?
Well, tell me a little more specifically what they would be saying and thinking, well, this means the cancer is supposed to heal. So just tell me a little more.
Okay, so in the steps, for example, all the places in my body, mind, and life where this is being stuck and stored or healing now, whatever we're working on is healing now.
Right.
And so for her with breast cancer, we have conversations in different women. And some ask, well, does that mean I'm not going to have cancer, that the cancer is going to completely go away? Or does that mean that I'm going to just be clearer in my mind or be less stressed? Or what does it mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the conversation we have with them.
Yeah. For me, while I had cancer, it simply was being able to feel myself in a happy, accepting condition of that as a reality. It didn't mean that I knew it was going to happen or it was definitely happening, but I was just recently listening to Bruce Lipton talking about epigenetics and how one gene can have 4,000 different expressions. And our cells have receptors. It really helped me, learning from him, it really helped me to know that our cells have receptors for emotions. They have receptors too, I believe, for thoughts. So that the condition of what's happening in the cell is influenced, as he teaches, and we know from epigenetics, it's influenced by the environment that it perceives that it's in. So if you're saying, gosh, I'm healthy, and your cells hear that, their receptors go, oh, okay, or I'm relaxed, or even it's possible for me to get completely well, that information gets in there. Things happen that are way beyond our knowledge of, certainly any knowledge that I've come across yet of, gee, how's that work? What happens physically? But that environment that a person creates by just saying, is healing now, it's like, oh, really? I could relax? So healing doesn't mean it's all healed up now. It's in this process of taking in better information. And for me, it was like a resonating template as well. That thought, like, oh, it's okay for me to resonate with that. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. And some of the ladies I've worked with have said, I don't know what's going to happen, whether it'll be healed, go away, never have it. If I can be cancer free, great. What they did notice was Well, when the doctor called and said, I want you to come in, I didn't automatically go to, uh-oh, they found something else.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh, okay, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, they're not in that frame of mind
Right.
of expecting the worst. It's just, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And being able to be in, for example, the MRI machine where it's closed in.
Right.
And before TAT was like, I can't, you have to drug me, put me to sleep, something, I can't do that. And TAT, and then being able to go through the machine and have the test and have the information that the doctor needed.
Yeah.
And to be able to, one lady said she was in the machine and, the sound's going off and she wants to move and get out. She, in her mind, saw herself in the pose and she was saying the steps and she was saying the affirmation and she just settled down.
That's awesome.
Like, yes, yes,
Love
you don't
that.
have to physically do that. You can
Mm-hmm.
do it there. And that's exactly what you were just saying with telling your cells, here's some new information. Yeah,
Yep.
we're doing it right now. And it's just, in that thought. I agree. The thoughts and the emotions, absolutely.
It
So cool, so cool.
is.
All right, now about no, one more question before that. Have you ever had anyone measure like blood pressure or pulse before a session, during a session, and after a session?
Mm-mm.
No, okay. I'm curious about that. That's going to be my next study, I do believe.
Great.
Yeah, just get some visuals. Some people like visuals like that. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I did have one guy tell me that he was teaching a whole class of people and had one person up front connected to a heart math
Oh.
machine through their
Mhm.
computer and did TAT with them, and people could see the difference in coherence before and after.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that was very visual.
Yes, yes. Oh, what? Hmm. How is TAT similar to other energy psychology interventions like acupuncture or like EFT, or how are they similar? What's similar about them?
Similar is that they use meridians, they convey information while a person is using the modality. Some of them use chakras. So it's a matter of, I would say that they're all conveying new information while a person is using some physical or thought based or energetic based approach, something that addresses the physical body and the energetic body or bodies.
Mhm. Okay. And how are they different?
One of the well, you don't have to say anything to anyone for TAT to work. You don't have to feel anything. You don't have to remember anything. You don't have to get in touch with where did this start or the origins. Um, Also, I think one of the things that's super important that's different is we have our big intention in the beginning that includes family, ancestors, all beings who'd like to benefit. And that has a tremendous value, I find. Um, People typically don't feel anything. except happier when they're done.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, tears of relief and happiness
Hmm.
are, but not tears of stress and like that. Also, what else is different about it? People often say, "Oh, I feel, like we said, lighter, more peaceful. I feel inner peace." I would say that that inner peace is feeling who you are. That peace is your own nature. And something about the whole TAT process regularly delivers that to people. Even if they're not thinking of it as spiritual, they're going, wow, I feel brighter and peaceful. I feel happier. To me, all of those, that brightness, happiness, peace, are all manifestations of who we are.
It's like peace is who you are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Ah, yes, 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 yes. All right. Other than in the TAT certification programs,
Mhm.
has TAT been taught anywhere else?
uh, it's tell me well, it's been taught by TAT trainers in different universities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I taught it in Tampa, Florida at their alternative medicine, complementary medicine program. Um,
Mm.
and then when there was the natural disasters that occurred, the TAT trainer taught it to a yoga teacher, and they gathered a group of people who just
Mhm.
taught it to people all over the place. One of the things they did, they taught it to villagers who came, who their village had suffered. Just tiny villages, and the people from the villages said, "This is great. We're going to go back and teach it to our
Mhm.
village."
Yeah,
So, where all it's been taught, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Mhm.
Probably 6 years, seven, maybe 7 or 8 years ago by now, it had been taught in 86 countries.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's around.
In the continents?
Um, don't know about all of them, most of them, we'll say. I'm not
I've
sure
had
if I
6
would
out of
go
7.
that far. Maybe not Antarctica, but who knows?
Right. But who knows? Maybe so.
Yeah, yeah.
What studies have been done using TAT?
They are listed at the website under research, but Kaiser Permanente did a couple of studies,
Mhm.
and they did them on a pilot study and then a second study on weight loss maintenance. So those were big studies done.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. Is there any area where you find it's more difficult for TAT to work, or there's a bigger challenge of it not being so effortless?
If I've had a few clients who were addicted to medical type opioids,
Okay.
and it was difficult for it to have the same effect reaching them. But other than that, it's worked with people who are dissociative identity disorder, um, over time with a well trained therapist who knows how to deal with that type situation.
Mhm.
It's worked for people who've been tortured, abused, abuse of any kind. Um, yeah,
Mm.
any kind of trauma. It's like, wow, that worked.
Mhm.
And plus for beliefs, of course, like TAT will never work for this. This is too big.
Mhm.
Every now
Mhm.
and again, I myself still have those thoughts like TAT is not going to work for this. And
Mhm.
then,
Mhm.
whatever, 20 minutes later, poof, it's was there, is gone. And I'm going, oh my goodness.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you working currently on with TAT in the big picture? Not your day-to-day stuff, big projects.
Big projects.
Mhm.
We have developed a whole ACEs program that adverse childhood experiences that is so elegant, effortless, thorough, effortless in the sense too that a person doesn't have to relive any of that stuff. So we're working on making that more well known to more people because like I say to people who are in the certification program, 95% of what you're actually going to be doing, no matter what problem a person comes in with, is going to be ACEs. You know, if they're saying, oh, I never get picked for promotion at my job, or oh, my husband just doesn't pay attention to me, or just whatever is the current issue, these current issues, like I experienced myself. Why do I
Mhm.
keep doing the same stupid
Right.
thing, right? Come on, I've admitted I do the same stupid thing. Why isn't that enough to change it? Yeah. And by that time, too, I'd done years of emotional trauma release work, crying and trying to get it
Mhm.
all out. It didn't change it. So I was pretty frustrated.
Mhm. Yes,
Anyway, I just forgot where I wanted to go with that.
the ACEs.
Oh, the ACEs. Yeah. So no matter what a person's going through, 95% of whatever that is going to be based in unresolved childhood traumas. So that's why I'm promoting this program because it'll take care of not only those memories, if it was me being really angry at my parents, blaming them, that's all like so gone.
Mhm.
And make total immediate changes in your relationships.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So that's why I'm promoting that.
And is that a program, an official program that's here in the world too?
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
It is.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Good, good. And that all that information can be found on your website.
Yeah.
It can.
Yep. tatlife.com. Yep. It's all there.
And the slice of heaven over there. Yeah. Yes. And as we begin to bring this conversation to a close, what
Hmm.
do you see as the future for TAT? What type of studies would you like to see? What's your vision for the future of the life of TAT?
What a sweet question. Thank you. I see people that I've trained like you following their own heart for what kind of study they want to do, who they'd like to help. And that'll be based on probably their childhood traumas and getting over those with
Mhm.
TAT and going, hey,
Mhm.
this can help with that. This means a
Mhm.
lot to me. So um, I see it also in use a lot for natural disasters. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it can be the core approach can be taught so quickly and easily. Yeah, and whatever inspires the hearts of the people who learned it, I have no idea what that's going to look
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I've often wondered how or why TAT did not become so well known, so public, so widespread as other energy psychology modalities have. Have you ever wondered?
Yes, and I think it's because early on, um, Gary Craig, who developed EFT, called me. Said, Tapas, someone in Europe trademarked EFT in Europe so that I can't teach it. They eventually worked it out, but he said, you probably want to trademark and copyright TAT. So that's what I did. So that has kept it smaller, and I've wanted people to be well trained. I haven't
Mhm,
wanted, even though the protocol's like super simple, super
mhm,
effective, if somebody is saying, I offer TAT, I've wanted them to know what to do if somebody starts crying hysterically or if they switch to another personality
mm,
or just, the things that happen if you're doing deep work with someone. I've wanted them to have all the information of what to do
mhm,
and also to be in touch with TAT Life about changes to the protocol, any
mhm,
updates like that. So that has kept it small. And also, I had early on, someone called me and said, oh, yeah, I went to a chiropractor who was doing TAT and they did a laser on my crown chakra. Isn't that part of TAT? And I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not. So, if anyone other than TAT Life is teaching TAT as part of a certification program
mhm,
and they're not listed at the website as a trainer, or they say, oh, yeah, you can learn this in 2 hours and here's the handout, that's really
mhm,
not everything TAT is. So, those are all
mhm,
the things that have made it smaller.
mhm.
Yep.
Very good reasons. And I, from experience, I think there, for me, there has been I'm going to call it a safety in the, and it's so profound. I hate to even use the word small because it's so amazing, but because it has been so simple and step by step, but yet effective and not watered down. Like, I appreciate that you have kept the integrity of what you have been inspired to create and to bring to the planet for all of us to make the world a better place, you know? And I truly appreciate that it's not in the hands of millions getting changed and morphed into this, that, and the other, that it is pure and that it stays consistent and that people can, I feel very comfortable. It's like the energy that you bring forth is in the process itself, where I feel grounded, I feel safe, I feel at peace. And that's what you embody to me, my experience with you. And so I know it's embedded in every step, every pose, every intention, that that purity is there and of the highest integrity. And so for that, I appreciate you and I thank you for not going, for following your heart, for following your heart and following what needed to the space that TAT needed in order to grow. And it's my intention that as this study unfolds and the dissertation is written and out in the world, that this is in alignment with that integrity, that it upholds that grace,
Mhm.
and that in that it also expands the knowledge base so that more and more people, for now breast cancer patients, can find this intervention to help them reduce their anxiety. And who knows, step by step, one step leads to another, which may lead to another, and all sorts of healing can happen. Know that I can't see, that you can't see, but now TAT is in their hands. And my vision for TAT is to have the oncologist, when he gives her her diagnosis and sets up those appointments, I want a TAT professional to be in the hands of that patient so that she goes right into this, and that she's supported physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and keeping with that groundedness and helping her, and just, helping that healing environment for her, having that space for her to help her heal is my vision. And for you bringing this in is just part of my life's work. And so I just, with all my heart, I thank you forever and ever. I um I had no idea in 1997 when I started and I found you in TAT that I would be where I am now and doing this. So thank you. Thank you, thank you,
Wow.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Velma.
Thank you.
Feeling it in my heart and grateful to you and happy for you. Just really happy for you. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
thank you,
thank you for
Tapas.
giving me the chance to share these super meaningful stories. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The world needs to know. Is there anything that we did not cover that you'd like to include before we officially close out?
No, I just want to say thank you again. It's been so sweet, super sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. With all my heart, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tapas.
Thank you.
Much love. Mm.
Yay. Well, we can quit the recording now. Let's see.